Good morning, Malaysia. This is Matthias Chang once again from Future Fast Forward. The last time I spoke to you was sometime back on 6th of September, roughly 3 weeks. And my address went viral, hitting over 100,000 hits in less than a week. And I've said it before many times, I only speak when necessary and after I've conducted exhaustive research so that you have the facts and the documents to see for yourself that what I speak of is the truth. Nothing but the truth. I was waiting also for some leaders across the political divide and analysis to bring to your attention one critical fact that for some strange reasons it was not raised by any political leaders or political analysis. Therefore, I would like to use this occasion to bring to your attention two critical issues. First and foremost, you will recall that our Prime Minister went over to America on the 12th of September. And soon after, there was a statement, official statement, from the press office of the White House. Here is the document, right? I'm sure you have it. You can always Google it and see for yourself, okay? A press statement from the White House following the initial meeting between the President and Prime Minister Najib. Now, many things were said in that short meeting, but many people, surprisingly, overlooked a critical sentence of the press statement, which I will now read to you slowly so that you can realize and think for yourself the implication. This is what President Trump said. I want to thank you very much for all of the investments you have made in the United States. Also, the Prime Minister has a major role in not allowing ISIS, or as you say, Daesh, and others to exist. He has been very, very strong on terrorism in Malaysia, and a great supporter from that standpoint. So that's a very important thing to the United States. That paragraph is by Donald Trump, praising Najib for his anti-ISIS stance. He may have not been informed that at one time Najib told the whole country to emulate ISIS, their courage and discipline in fighting the unlawful war crime in Syria. Muslim killing Muslims. Be that as it may, the point I want to make is the next sentence uttered by President Trump. And these are his words. He does not do business with North Korea any longer. And we find that to be very important. We had a vote yesterday on sanctions. We think it's just another very small step, not a big deal. So, why out of the blues, Trump, in that visit by Najib to America, brought out this glaring issue, not addressed or challenged by the government, not addressed and put to the Prime Minister and the government? Why did President Trump make this statement? Why only on the 12th of September and never before since 2016 or since his inauguration as President of the United States of America? Could it be that Rex Tillerson, when he came to Malaysia to see Najib for the first time, this issue was brought up to the Malaysian government and an assurance was extracted by the Malaysian government that they will cease all business dealings with North Korea. I find it very strange that Trump had to emphasize that Najib, he uses the word, he does not, that means Najib, he does not do business with North Korea any longer. Bearing in mind that previously, a few months back, the brother of the president of North Korea was murdered, assassinated in Malaysia, and there's pending criminal investigation. I don't know, neither do you, Malaysian citizens, know, when did Malaysia started doing business with North Korea, a country under extreme sanctions by the United Nations, which sanctions are supported by even China and Russia, the member of the 5 permanent members of the Security Council. So it's not a one-sided or biased sanctions. All previous sanctions on North Korea has been adopted, approved, and implemented by the entire UN Security Council, for which China and Russia are also permanent members. Yet, in the light of all those sanctions, we in Malaysia entered into business dealings with others with North Korea. And the whole of Malaysia was kept in the dark, and then this fact came out of the blues in the open in a press statement. And it was a direct statement, not to the Malaysian government or the Malaysian people, but the word was, and I quote, referring to Najib in his personal capacity, he does not do business with North Korea any longer. Therefore, I will not go for this point, but to implore and demand that all political leaders across the political divide, in Parliament or outside Parliament, to demand from Prime Minister Najib and his government for a detailed explanation why it was necessary for Trump to make this statement in his remarks to Najib. If it be, a white paper must be presented in Parliament detailing the entire history between North Korea and Malaysia. With that, I'll pause on this point and move to the second point, which I want to address to all Malaysians. You will recall, and I said in my previous address, that coinciding with Rex Tillerson's visit to Malaysia, prior to the invitation by Trump to Najib, DOJ applied to stay the civil procedure action of forfeiture against assets confiscated by the DOJ, and to ask the court for that stay so that criminal proceedings can move forward without interruption or hindrance. The timing was important, as I said before, on the 10th of August. The timing was so important. Why was that announced? And why was an application made to the court to stay the forfeiture proceedings to allow DOJ unfettered access and process to go after the members of the kleptocracy, members of the criminal cabal who are involved in money laundering, corruption, cheating, racketeering, and what have you. And important that on the 13th of September, one day after the arrival of Najib Razak, the Prime Minister of Malaysia, to US, the court in California, the timing, issued an order. This is the actual order which I have extracted from the court, granting the order of stay and giving unfettered access to the DOJ to proceed with criminal proceedings. And if I may read to you the nature of the order, why the court granted a stay of the forfeiture action and went ahead to allow DOJ to go after the culprits, the criminals in the DOJ criminal proceedings. Get ready and listen carefully. This is the order of the court, granted in chambers. The government has moved to stay these actions for all purposes other than for the filing of timely claims and answers. The court deems this matter appropriate for decision without oral argument. The hearing set for 18 September 2017 is removed from the court's calendar. No need arguments, no need oral hearing. 18 USC 91G1 provides that upon the motion of the United States, the court shall stay the civil forfeiture proceedings if the court determines that civil discovery would adversely affect the ability of the government to conduct a related criminal investigation or the prosecution of a related criminal case. Based on the government's presentation, the court is satisfied that the continuing prosecution of these civil forfeiture cases would adversely affect the prosecution of the related investigation. The court sees no reason to doubt the government's claim that the criminal investigation is ongoing into the underlying money laundering allegations that form the basis for all these civil forfeiture cases. The government has stated that the revelation of discovered facts in these cases could reveal investigative methods of the investigation, subject witnesses and informants to intimidation or retaliation, and raise the potential for evidence destruction. Given the complex nature of the alleged crimes and the sensitive political and diplomatic issues involved, I repeat, and raise the potential for evidence destruction. Given the complex nature of the alleged crimes and the sensitive political and diplomatic issues involved. Remember, political and diplomatic issues involved. That's why in my last address, I told all of you there are geopolitical reasons why Nigeria was invited to America. And here is a confirmation that there are political and diplomatic issues involved. It is apparent that revelation of the criminal investigation. It's apparent that revelation of any significant amount of information by the government could endanger the operation of the criminal investigation. For this same reason, a protective order is not sufficient to protect the interests of the government and the public. Further, the court sees no reason to engage in piecemeal discovery with some discovery pursuant to protective order, now only to be essentially repeated later after criminal investigation has terminated. Nor would the stay violate any of the claimant's due process rights. Finally, no claimant has provided any compelling statement of any prejudice that it might suffer, other than the claims to the various properties will remain uncertain for a longer period of time, a problem inherent in any stay of forfeiture proceedings. The motion for stay is granted. The stay will continue until vacated by the court. And the government is to provide status updates as to the investigation every 180 days to allow the court to assess whether to continue the stay. The last sentence is very important. It says here, no claimant has provided any compelling statement of any prejudice that it might suffer if the stay was granted. Therefore, the court was convinced, utterly convinced, without oral hearing, to grant a stay of the forfeiture proceedings so that the DOJ can commence unfettered the criminal prosecution and investigation against all these culprits, the gang members of the kleptocratic cabal and syndicate, the gang members that laundered our money throughout the world, the same gang members that took our money from one MDB and bought assets to divert, right, all the monies in the so-called legitimate investments such as condominiums, films, jewelry, what have you. So here is a classic example of the law of justice and truth prevailing. Have I not said many times to you? Truth will prevail, justice will prevail. So long as we surrender completely to the will of God, have absolute faith that Allah will protect, defend, and guide us under all circumstances in the face of all enemies, adversities, and challenges. Now let me, as elaboration, reveal to you some shocking details why the court, without oral arguments, gave an order for a stay to allow DOJ unfettered access to investigation and prosecution. One of the reasons was witnesses, informants, and other people who could help in the investigation, locally and overseas, could be threatened, retaliated, or even unlawfully liquidated. And in the affidavit affirmed by the FBI agent, right, in the person of Robert B. Huiling, signed on September 3rd, 2017 in New York, this is what he said. Indeed, a number of individuals who have provided information to the government, US government, have expressed significant concerns relating to their safety, including possible retaliation if the identities of certain individuals were disclosed. Requiring the government to disclose its witnesses at this time would discourage these witnesses from continuing to cooperate and may interfere with the government's ability to obtain confidential information from others. Then, this FBI agent is zeroed in on the China Kwai Joe Low. Because prior to this applicant for stay, Joe Low filed a lot of applications for discovery to get access to information as to how DOJ was conducting the investigation, how they interviewed witnesses, what was the source of information. Let me tell you this. This was a fishing expedition by Joe Low, the main culprit overseas, running away and hiding from the long arm of the law. Ask any criminal lawyer in Malaysia, can anyone interfere with the IGP, the Special Branch or MACC investigation, and demand during the course of investigation the MACC, the police, or the AG chambers to disclose whatever documents they have acquired, disclose which witnesses have interviewed, and have access to the witness and the statements they made? Not possible. Not possible. Yet, Joe Low has filed all this application in court in California, and the court took a dim view of such blatant applications and were rejected. That's why the court gave the order on the 13th of September, day after Najib went to USA, to the White House. I quote, Low claimant, Ms. Joe Low, has already sought information to civil discovery that would adversely impact the ongoing proceedings. It goes on to say, the United States conducts an ongoing criminal investigation directly related to the allegations set forth in the First Amended Complaint, FACs. First Amended Complaint, FAC in short, filed in this action. Specifically, the FAC alleged that over the course of 4 phases, collectively, the criminal phases, billions of dollars were stolen from the Malaysian government's Malaysian Development Fund, Berhad, 1MDB, a strategic investment company. The 1MDB action and the ongoing criminal investigation are related because they involve the same or substantially the same parties, witnesses, facts and circumstances. Specifically, the United States is investigating the individuals, entities, financial and monetary transactions and investment vehicles involved in the criminal phases. As alleged in the FAC, First Amendment claims, one of the criminal phases involved the fraudulent diversion of more than 1 billion in proceeds from 1MDB to a Swiss bank account held in the name of Good Star Limited. The Good Star account. The FAC alleged that Dick Joe Low, a Malaysian national, controlled the Good Start account and used the criminal proceeds diverted from 1MDB and deposited into Good Start account to purchase tens of millions of dollars of assets in the United States. And during 2 of the other criminal phases, the FAC alleged that Low and his associates conspired to divert and misappropriate approximately more than 2.5 billion in proceeds that 1MDB raised to multiple bond offerings in 2012 and 2013. Many of these funds were then used to acquire assets that are the subject of 1MDB activities. Similarly, during another criminal phase, the FAC alleged that 1MDB officials and the associates conspired to misappropriate approximately 850 million in 1MDB funds that were borrowed from a syndicate of banks led by Deutsche Bank. Some of these funds were then used to acquire assets related to 1MDB actions. And then it goes on. The FAC alleged that the individuals who were involved in these criminal phases include, but not limited to, Joe Low, Rizal Aziz, a Malaysian national, and the stepson of the senior Malaysian official. Stepson of the senior Malaysian official. So they identify indirectly who is MO1, who oversaw 1MDB and Khadim Al-Kubaisi. Moreover, the FAC alleged that Low and several others, including Aziz and Kubaisi, were involved in or facilitated several multi-million dollar transfers that were made in part of the criminal phases. Many of these transfers and Low and others' involvement in them are described in the FACs, underscoring the direct relationship between one enemy actions and the ongoing criminal investigations. So here you have, in summary, right, the allegation by the FBI and DOJ naming two key players, Jolo and Rizal Aziz, the stepson of MO1. What else do we need? So, for those people who prior to not just visit to America, shaking in fear that somehow, by whatever schemes or plans, Donald Trump, the president, has the power to direct DOJ or the FBI to stop investigation or to control the courts in California. I've shown to you direct proof that this cannot happen. These people make this allegation because they have no faith in truth or in justice. That truth will prevail, justice will prevail. Because they lack fundamentally their faith in Allah. That Allah works in mysterious ways and will always come down on the side of truth and justice. How do you explain, my fellow Malaysians, how do you explain the timing? As I represent to all of you, the timing, announcement of the stay application, 10th of August, to coincide with Rex Tillerson visit to Malaysia. An order of court was issued the very day after the visit, 3rd September. The court issued order. You think Donald Trump can interfere? This very act of the court issued order, staying the forfeiture and allowing unfettered access of DOJ to prosecute and investigate, shows what? The independence of the judiciary in America. It also shows that the case prepared by the DOJ, by the FBI, is ironclad. And in the course of the application, DOJ and FBI exposed the insidious, the filthy tactics of Jolo and his lawyers to try to discover who are the witnesses, what documents, the sources which enable DOJ and other investigative agencies throughout the world to track all the money flows, thinking by their contact with the Trump administration, they can unravel all these sources, intimidate, or even liquidate those witnesses, or retaliate against those witnesses. That's why it's significant that for DOJ, as the grounds for stay and they have unfettered access to prosecution investigation, that people are now be subject to intimidation by these scumbags, criminals. Can you see that? This is the significance. What happened in America between 10th of August and 13th September 2017. And therefore I hope and I pray to all of you, I beseech all of you Malaysians, for heaven's sake, how many times must I say that we can win this struggle? We can destroy the evil scourge of tyranny, abuse of power and corruption in this country if we have faith. Have I not shown to all of you time after time when evil tries to strike us down, Allah intervened and showed to us how justice prevailed and stood firm. Why do you think, of all dates, the court issued an order on the 30th of September? Why? Why do you think? Use your common sense, for heaven's sake. If there was a collaboration, connivance, success in the regime or any third party lobbying for Malaysia to convince Donald Trump to scuttle the investigation. And it was successful. If it was successful, why did the court issue order on the 13th of September, the day after the visit of Najib to the White House? The order was issued on the 13th of September purely because to show the whole world you can have money, you can lobby the White House, but no way can money laundering offense, racketeering, corruption, cheating, all right, diversion of people's money will be allowed to get away scot-free. No way. That's why on 30th September, the hammer was slashed. The gavel was hammered down. No oral arguments. That's very important. No? An application order was handed down in chambers without oral arguments on such an important case. I would say it's unprecedented. How often you ask lawyers in Malaysia on such a major case, on such a major request and order, a court will give an order without oral arguments, handed down to time, to coincide with the visit of a foreign leader allegedly as accused, all right, and intense propaganda that Trump can be bought and subverted, and DOJ, FBI, and the courts will collapse, and the people of Malaysia will have no recourse but to suffer in silence. This proves to you once again that Allah works in mysterious ways. And I'd like to conclude here. When I give my address on the 6th of September, what I've said has now been proven correct and true. Have I not? And yet, police reports were lodged against me. Funny. Led by this, who is fellow called Ramesh Rao, one NGO. Yet after the visit, almost every opposition leader, every political analysis, even from the ruling party, came out and say it was a disaster that our government kowtowed to America, that a small country like Malaysia having to borrow money from China, from the Chinese alung, for infrastructure investment, ports and what have you, went to America to say we will help develop US economy and infrastructure. And then say we will buy Boeing planes. And then idiot CEO, this bellow, almost simultaneously says, we will not buy any planes. We will only lease them. And has audacity to whack Tun Mahathir for saying, why Tun Mahathir make his statements without consulting him? Right? Spoke out of turn, not knowing what to say. Well, if that's the case, he himself didn't know what's going on. He didn't know for a fact until after the president came back to Malaysia. The MAS was going to buy X amount of Boeing Dreamliners and what have you. Because he issued a statement immediately. This bellow, this Basale, useless scumbag. He said, we're not buying. We're cutting our costs. We're reducing our routes to this destination. And when Najib came back, he sang a different tune. He must explain why. This Basale, right? Maybe he's an ass licker, for all I know. So, for Masale like him, and also the former ambassador, US ambassador, who talked rubbish, threatened Mahathir, let me tell you, Masale foreigners, right? Stay out of our politics. Stay out. Zip up and shut up. We can handle our problems. We don't need Masale, white man, to tell us what to do. Because we have faith in our cause. We have faith that truth will prevail, justice will prevail. Therefore, in conclusion, may I say to all of you, the voice of truth and justice cannot be silenced, cannot be intimidated. Because even if that voice is silenced by whatever means, a bullet between the eyes or whatever, some other people will stand up to replace the fallen. That is the history of any struggle for justice and truth. So do not be intimidated or fearful. If all of you Christians, especially the Christians, one or two have betrayed me, I know who they are. They spied on me and pretend to be friends, but behind my back, they betrayed me, as if I don't know. I know who they are. And of course, there are some Muslims who pray every 5 times a day, but I've shown in my past, from extracts from the Quran, if you're a hypocrite, you don't really have faith in Allah, you're not a true Muslim. And they condemn me for quoting Allah and the Quran, as if only the Muslims have the right to quote Allah. Show me where in the Quran the only Muslims can quote the Quran or call Allah in name for help and blessing. Show me, or else shut up, zip up, because you don't know your Quran, and you Christians don't know your Bible and your Gospels. For truth will prevail. As I stand here today, as I stood before you all these months, I fear not evil. I fear not tribulations or challenges. My only fear is if I do wrong, God will let me down. That's why I pray every day that I will follow the righteous path. If I'm weak, God will strengthen my faith. If I stray from the right path, Allah will bring me back to the right path. That's why, till today, I remain unshaken. I remain unshaken. Lastly, a small point, but a very important point. I've been told there's some allegations that some members of opposition have been bought over by the regime. As far as I'm concerned, it's a rumor. I can't be bothered. And for those who say they've been offered money, I want to advise to all of them. If anybody offer you money to abandon your struggle, your political struggle for justice and truth, that amounts to corruption. Then follow the advice, instructions of Allah, give a press conference and declare openly that you have been bribed, induced by monetary reward to turn your back on Allah. If you fail to do this, then you are not a truthful believer and a truthful follower of Allah to fight for truth and justice. And you deserve hellfire, because you cannot, on one hand, criticize ill will, evil, and not expose the evil if the evil has come to your face and offer you a bribe. Show me the courage and the backbone that if you have offered money by anyone to abandon a struggle, call for a press conference and declare who did it, when and where. That is the ultimate test, the litmus test whether you are genuine, sincere and truthful. With that, I conclude my today's address to you, some 3 weeks after my 6th September address. And I wish all of you well, have a good day, and continue to surrender completely to the will of Allah. Have absolute faith that He will protect, defend and guide us under all circumstances, in the face of all enemies, adversities and challenges. May God bless you all. Have a nice day. Thank you.